Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues. My name is Anthony. I'm an addict and an alcoholic, another bozo on the bus, and I care about you.
And I'm LouiLou, or Lewis, and my pronouns are he and him, and I'm recovering for crystal meth and alcohol, and I'm always in search of balance. Yes, and each week we strive to foster a brave space where we can engage in conversations centered around topics of recovery.
And our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for more people in recovery by tackling issues sometimes used to separate us.
But before we do that, please like, share, and rate this episode, and subscribe.
Subscribe, give us all the stars, tell your friends about us, call your mom up, say, hey, there's this podcast I want you to listen to.
Okay.
And then walk her through the steps. And now the disclaimer, the thoughts and opinions expressed on At the CCC are its own. We do not represent anyone but ourselves. In other words, we're just a couple of friends behind a mic here to entertain you. And of course, everything we talk about is for general information purposes only. Let's fucking go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That was smooth.
You're smooth.
I am. I try. How
you?
are you doing?
I'm good. This has been a productive week. There's been a lot of really positive movement in some of the care that I provide. And I'm feeling really good about that work.
Same. For me, I'm just still in holiday mode. And so that means that I am practicing extra self-care, you know.
Oh, what do you mean you're still in holiday mood?
I work retail.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I thought you meant like you were at home, like doing things.
No.
Yeah.
You know,
well, don't assume everyone knows that you work retail.
Well, if you've been listening, I talk about it a lot.
Well.
Okay. Well, if not, you know, I work retail. God bless.
Yeah.
And so it's just busy time.
Yeah. That's really too bad. That's really
okay. Right on. Wow.
Well, okay. Well, today we have a special guest. She's been on the show before. We loved her so much. We invited her back, and she is the one, the only, the grounded, the sincere, the authentic Sage.
Wow, that was such a beautiful intro. Thank you.
Wow, that's wild.
Sage, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. It is the end of the week. I'm happy we're approaching the holiday season. And I'm happy I'm still sober.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm happy I'm sober too. But let me tell you something. That's hard work.
It is.
Every time I come to record this podcast.
Yeah, no, it is.
I look at Lewis and I'm like, did I bring a personal bottle?
Oh my God.
Do I want to DoorDash a White Claw?
Oh my God. No. It's like, if anything, I inspire you. I better inspire you.
You do inspire
I inspire
me.
you. Like, you don't want to, like, I'm the cautionary tale. Say, be the example or the cautionary tale.
Yeah. And sometimes we're both.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, I'm all, you know what? That's well-rounded.
What is?
No,
being, that's the human experience.
Exactly.
Right? We're all a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I bet everything.
Right. Okay, so today's topic, well, first off, if you're just listening to us for the first time, or this episode, when you know when you go spinning through things. So if you're just listening to us for the first time or just getting caught up, so we're doing our 12-step series, but we're going about this a little different. So in 12-step, there are 12 steps, and every one of those steps. Wow.
Wait.
In 12 steps, there are 12 steps. Well, here's the thing. They're not 13, Sage.
Oh.
I heard there was a 14 too.
Oh, yeah. No, there's 15 and 16. They're like, the 16th step is like getting your teeth fixed or something. No,
I thought that was the 13th one. So I heard 13, obviously we all know what that is. 14 was getting food stamps. And then 14. And then.
And you have to go back and revisit sometimes you have to go back and revisit the 14th step.
Which is the human services agency.
Yes. Human services.
Maybe call it accessing social services. How about that?
Accessing social services.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes some of our bottoms are pretty tough and we need all the support we can get.
Sometimes our bottoms are tough.
Yeah, sometimes our bottoms are tough.
They fight back.
They do. And for those listening who may not understand this joke, there are tops and there are bottoms. Bottoms are generally receptive partners. and
receptacles.
Oh no, Louis, we are not going to do that right now while we're recording because we are better people than that.
It's a fun word. Are we?
Nope.
Oh, exactly.
So we're doing this. I'm sorry, did I cut you off? Because I thought I was in the middle of something.
Okay, one.
So our 12-part series. So yes, there are 12 steps, and they correspond with very specific things. But what we're doing is we are allowing those steps to inspire conversations that are more relatable or accessible to people who aren't in 12-step, right? Who may not be familiar with the language. So step 5 in the 12 and 12 is written, admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrong. So, yes, telling the truth. Really? So the idea behind step 5 is you can't really heal from things that you're hiding. Right. And it's not about self-punishment. It's not about confessing sins. One of the ways to think about it, like within the psych community, is it's a way of, it's a shame regulated disclosure, right? So you're kind of containing whatever the shame is. You're taking the shame out of whatever it is that you're going to share with other people. And this might feel like analogous to people who have ever had a coming out process, right? This idea that I have something that's private, that feels close to me, and I need to get this off my chest. Or there are some cases where you do have something and you don't want to share it, but you should get it off your chest.
Absolutely.
So, and I think a big part of that too is about telling the truth, right? Because so much of our drinking and using is around secrecy.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
Okay. Take it to church.
Absolutely.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And step 5 is really about increasing accountability. And by virtue of increasing accountability and telling the truth, we improve our connections with other people and ourselves and a power greater than ourselves. So before y'all got sober, what was your relationship to the truth? Sage, I'm looking at you. You look like a liar.
I was a full-time salary liar.
Non-exempt.
Non-exempt.
Yeah. Or is it exempt? Which is the one?
No, on salary it is exempt.
Oh, so yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, looking back into, I did it no problem at all. I think in terms of relationships, I was able to lie. In terms of my family, I was able to lie. When it came to school and work, there was always just a reason for my bullshittery.
Yeah.
And
what made you want to bullshit? Was it because there were things that you wanted to get? You wanted to protect yourself? What was the goal? We're on a podcast. That's a lot of downtime.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm fucking with you. Go ahead.
The goal was just to make things easier for myself in the moment, right? Immediate gratification, immediate ease, immediate accessibility to the things that I wanted. And so a lot of times I would just, whether it was a white lie or it was a blatant lie, I would do that, and I was able to get my way and call it a day. Yeah.
I love your connection to immediate gratification, right? Because so much of addiction is about that. It's about not wanting to have the pain or like not wanting to experience any kind of discomfort, right? But some of that discomfort might be waiting.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God. Yeah.
Waiting.
I hate it.
Waiting, right? Yeah. Or having to work for a certain thing, which is more waiting.
Hate it.
Yeah. How about you, Louis? You seem like a fibber too.
You know what? Honestly, it's like I feel as though like I peddled in a lot of white lies and kind of
part-time lie.
Part-time, that, and also kind of omission of
lying by omission.
Lying by omission. I think that while I was in it, I thought that the lies I told were harmful, not harmful, harmless. But learning now, coming out of it, that folks recognize. I mean, it's like if you show up all the time, with your half truths and whatever, you will be deemed a liar. And so basically, I agree with Sage. It was about like in the moment, I wanted to get what I wanted. Mm-hmm. Towards the end, it was like I was a manipulator. I was lying to kind of like, No, I'm going to get this and I'll pay you later. I'm going to get the, whatever, or, I'm good for this or, oh God, no, I made up, I had stories upon stories. A friend of mine, he always shares. When he shares, he talks about how many times his parents and family members died.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's like when you're working, it's because I always worked throughout my active addiction. And I know now that I was not a good employee, and I probably would have been I would have been of service not to show up. But in my mind, I was thinking, I show up and I'm there all the time. I just was only kind of maybe 50% there or 60. And so, so I definitely played the game.
Yeah. And one of the things that research consistently shows is that narrative disclosure reduces experiences of shame, and it improves overall psychological well-being, right? And so many people who are coming into recovery, even if you have time, right? Just like the act of not hiding, right, can reduce shame.
Oh, absolutely.
And a lot of times that's because there's this like amplification of things in our minds, right? And so there's no one to kind of reality check us or to connect with outside of ourselves. And so it can be very, lonely. It can be lonely.
The thing that's really fucked up is, and it doesn't matter time or not. It's like, usually I hold on to things because I'm so caught up in what I think other people are going to think. And I don't know, like I have these conversations in my head, or I have this fantasy thoughts, these fantastic thoughts about how people are going to stone me if they knew the truth.
Right.
When in fact, half the people are like, yeah, I did that too last week, whatever.
Right. And then that's how shame exists. Like shame exists in secrecy. Right. Guilt exists in secrecy. And I think step 5, or at least the spirit of step 5, really interrupts that. And I think in general, like telling the truth interrupts that. If you can do it in a way where you feel supported, right? Which is why we do it within the relationship of a sponsor. Not that every sponsor is a good sponsor, but
no.
I'm sure y'all get the idea.
But I think the whole idea is like I do this thing with my sponsors where all the things that we do leading up to the 5th step, the time that we take is so necessary because we're building relationship. We're building this kind of trust so that by the time we get to the 5th step, hopefully we have had some time and you're open to the idea of sharing these things with me. But I like to tell my sponsors, you know what? I don't have to be the person you tell, but you have to find somebody. There has to be somebody that you can believe in, that you know, that you can trust. Because if you hold on to stuff, this will rot your insides. It's like it'll eat away at you.
Right.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, I think, at least for me, when I came into the program, I didn't want to talk to anyone, and I definitely didn't want to talk to myself because then I would be aware of my feelings.
Feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
But the 5th step is really lovely in that, like you were saying, Louis, you approach it at a point in your recovery when you have an understanding of a higher power, whatever that has to be. It doesn't have to be a white man in the sky. It can be whatever you make it as. You're also sharing your experiences and your wrongdoings with someone that you've developed hopefully a loving and trustworthy relationship with, whether that's your sponsor or somebody else, and with yourself. And hopefully by that point in time, you have a new relationship with yourself where you're not putting yourself in more harm's way and you're not repeating the same mistakes that you were making, which was leading you down a road of sometimes darkness, sometimes using, sometimes isolation. And so maybe I'm jumping ahead, but the 5th step definitely really was monumental for me in my recovery. After having done the 4th step and writing everything down, it was a time for me to share it and speak truth to everything that had happened in the past and even things I was doing presently. And I feel ultimately when you speak those things out loud, you're taking away the power that they hold in yourself, in the environment, in the universe, what have you.
Yeah. And there's this other piece here, right? So you're because what I'm hearing you describe is like when you say the thing, you start to pull it apart, right? And one of the things that we pull apart is some of the things that we thought were like maladaptive or character defects were actually survival behaviors. They were the things that we needed to do to survive. And we might look back and we might experience some guilt about it, but actually after kind of getting it out of your system and having somebody else to talk to, you realize, no, I was surviving.
Just like when folks talk about like, it used to shock me when I'd hear people say, I'm grateful that I experienced drugs and alcohol because I realized that I used drugs and alcohol at a time. I found it at a time when I could not deal with the heavy emotions because I had lost my mom and other things. And I feel like that I probably wouldn't be here had I not had that as a coping mechanism.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I am 100% certain that if I didn't find drugs and alcohol, I would have killed myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have 100% killed myself. But then it got to a point where I was using so much where then I wanted to kill myself.
Right.
I was like, oh, this worked, and then it didn't work, and now I hate everything in myself.
Because it works so well until it stopped working.
That's right. Yeah. And you get all the things, well, I'll speak for myself. I got all the things that I wanted, right? I felt lonely and insecure and I had all these feelings. And then when I drank and used, like I had community and I felt interesting. And, I had a break from all of the shitty feelings that I had.
Yeah. I thought I was such a free spirit. I didn't realize that that wasn't me. I was,
100%.
that wasn't me. That was, I was a slave to it. And so I look at that and I'm all, like I always like to say when I'm sharing, and I've said this on here, I just disrespected that relationship. And
with yourself?
No, the relationship I had with drugs and alcohol. And I started doing that because I want to, how we get sober and we vilify it. And then, and you get to that place where like, nobody should drink. Well, I don't get to decide that for anybody else. And so I started to do this thing for myself. It says, you know what? I disrespected that relationship. Like self-medication, it didn't work for me.
Right.
It didn't work at all. And so, yeah. No.
So what was the point for both of you where there was a switch, right? Where you started to see or behave in a way that was different, right? Where you're
in terms of in addiction?
Yeah. So what's the point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to withhold. Like, what was the motivation behind that? And what was that like?
I think for me, and we were talking about this a little bit before this actual podcast of just me being kind of a workaholic as well. And that's one of my addictions. And, I got my last job on an interview. I went to having pulled an all-night bender of hooking up with some trick in their apartment, right? And the next morning I went to my interview, aced the interview. I thought it was hot shit. First day on the job, I was tweaking the fuck out. And I just rolled with it. I thought, oh my God, I got hired and I'm here onboarding and nobody noticed. I am the smoothest actress anyone could ever come across. And then it got to a point where I was throwing up at work and I was experiencing, I was dizzy. What's the word for dizzy?
Sage.
Oh my God.
No.
Whatever. I was feeling really dizzy.
Nauseous.
Nauseous. I'm forgetting.
It's fine.
And
it'll come back.
It got to a point where like my supervisor at the time was calling the ER and paramedics were showing up and they were taking my vials and
oh whoa.
I was no longer a good actress.
Yeah.
And I was losing it. And one of my directors at the time pulled me in. She's not necessarily in recovery, but we have similar experiences in, with men, with substances and what have you. And she was like, the act's up. You can be pulling some tricks and sucking dick in a motel room, or you can have this job. And unfortunately you can't do both of those things. And
that's amazing.
And I was like, no, I really think I can. And she was like, I think I can. Bitch, no, you can't. And that was after I had recently lost a friend due to an overdose. That was when I watched one of my other friends lose her job due to her addiction. And as much as I wanted in my mind to be like, no, I'm not one of those people, I was kind of getting to a point where I saw that I was one of those people.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I don't know why it took an interaction with my boss and my job to make me wake up, but that's ultimately what brought me here.
Yeah. And when we start to tell the truth, right? It's so important for us to identify those safe people, right? Because it sounded like you felt supported by that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's important to find someone who isn't going to moralize the things that we say, that we like, they're not going to shame us or guilt us, right? That the goal is to have someone that you feel like you can really give this part of yourself to.
Yeah, at least in the beginning, because the more that you do it,
Yeah.
easier it becomes. And then you realize it's like, I'm okay, you know what? As much as I'm concerned about how it might affect or how somebody might see me getting real, I don't, after a while, it's like, I'm doing this for me.
Right.
I mean, I think that the point when I shifted was when I realized that the gig was up, because the gig should have been up long before, because I think people saw what was really there, and I was still performing thinking that nobody knew what was going on. Kind of like before I came out, like when I finally came out to my family and everything, they're all, we knew, we were just waiting for you. Well, I think a lot of people knew that something wasn't right. I mean, the physical, I was so thin. I was skin as like, my skin was like whatever. They knew something was up, something was going on. And when I finally opened my eyes and saw what other people were seeing, and I realized there was nothing else I could do. And I remember, and I've talked about this, where it's like, I realized that the only thing I had left going for me was the job. And even that, I was on thin ice. And so I finally, like, because I had to, not because I think I'd reached that point where I knew the gig was up, and it wasn't like I had a choice. I had to go in and say something, and I said it, and I thought, and I went in there with a bit of that manipulation that I was operating there, but I finally like told them enough of the truth that it was like, okay, it was time to do something different.
And what you're talking about, that's really important, right? Because you're discerning. Right. It's not, you aren't necessarily sharing drama, right? You're sharing maybe a pattern you notice, or right. You're getting to the root of it, right? I think it's easy to get lost in like the story that's associated with the thing that we want to truth tell around. And the goal isn't to, the goal is to find the common denominators, to find those things that have fed into each other, and it can, they kind of create this cycle that is really hard to get out of. That's the goal. The goal isn't to find the behavior that was bad, right? It's like, what is the pattern behavior, and why was I doing that? Right? Like, is there some place in my life that I need to heal? Is there some wound that's asking for my attention? There's this one guy, Gabor Mate, who he says that whenever there's a return to use, what that means is that there's some pain that is asking to be attended to, that there's someone is still hurting whenever there's a return to use. And that's very different. We could look at the behavior and say, oh, that person doesn't get it. Or we can say that person is still in pain. Yeah.
Well, it's been very helpful for me to look at the latter. That person is still in pain, because it's like, we say some people are constitutionally incapable. Automatically you want to dismiss them as they're lazy, or they don't care or whatever, but this is a disease. This is not a disgrace. And there are some people who just aren't ready, because the truth as they see it is probably too painful to face. And so, ideally, we hope that we get there, but if we don't, I mean, I realize that there are some people that just keep on coming. Hopefully, at some point,
right,
you see that the thing that you think is going to kill you is not actually going to kill you. It's going to be your deliverance. Yeah.
And the truth is painful.
Oh, it's
like,
absolutely
it's really painful.
But they can't imagine. The reason why it's scary, because you can't imagine what's on the other side of it. It's like, that's why, where we have these control issues, where I got to have my hand in this. I got to be there, when in fact, sometimes letting go and just letting it happen, which is the truth. Letting it happen is the thing that's going to take you where you need to be.
Yeah. And CJ, it's interesting you said that the truth is painful. I was thinking that a second ago. I'm like, fuck, telling the truth is painful.
Yeah, it sucks.
For as much as it can be liberating, it does suck. And let's take addiction out of it, right? Like if there's any shame or guilt around something, that by itself is painful. But then if you add trauma to that story, or if you add trauma to that story. Sorry, Louis got up from his chair, and Louis knows I am so easily distracted, and I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, you have trauma, and then you add...
Good. You brought it back.
Yeah, because I wrote a note. I wrote it right there, addiction. And then
Thank God for the note.
Then you add you add addiction, and then if there's if there's mental illness, and if there's a lack of resources, and if there isn't community support, or if there's family conflict, right? Like telling the truth can feel very, very difficult. And part of that is because lies, I think, we generally use to protect ourselves.
Yeah,
and who wants to not protect themselves when they already feel so very vulnerable?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Especially if I've grown up wanting to be perceived a certain way or whatever, and that is based on a lot of falsehood or whatever, then that shatters like my whole way of thinking or whatever. It's like, and I can't have you know that I'm a fraud, because that's a big thing. I came in not wanting to be perceived as a fraud, so it's like I would perform, tell only, share only what I thought I needed to share, like I said, and hope that everything was okay. And unfortunately, I was selling myself short. I was missing out on an opportunity to kind of grow in the way I needed to.
Yeah. And how would you say for the two of you, like, how would you say, I guess truth in whatever way that you conceive of that has felt liberating for you?
I mean, I think personally, the truth really did hurt initially. Like for the first 6 months up to a year, it really was painful for me. But I think since moving past that, it has liberated me so much to see the really deep wounds I have internally that I never wanted to heal from. And I think you mentioned this earlier, like being grateful that you picked up and used, because I don't think if it had been for crystal meth that I would be at a place where I ultimately want to live today.
Right.
I think I would have, from one drug or another addiction, I would have been using excuses to just bury the pain more and more and more until I got to the point where I just decided that's it.
Right. And you know what you're bringing up for me is how we can be in pain and not know that we're in pain.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just our norm.
And acting out, like, I mean, the pain shows up in being nasty to other people.
Oh, yeah. When we throw around our suffering.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Before we land this plane, I wanted to stress something that we were talking about earlier. And it's the, if you're doing this step 5 with someone in a recovery space, or maybe, you aren't in recovery and this is something you're hearing for the first time, I think the goal remains the same, which is when you get to a point where you're willing to share those things, find someone that you feel connected to, find someone that can hold that space for you that is safe. And one of the things I heard is, and if you can't find that person, call a random general service office in the country.
Absolutely.
Any of the AA general service office, totally anonymous, star 67 before you call. No one's going to call you back, and tell a fucking stranger.
Yeah.
Just tell a stranger. Just
like that.
Yeah. Just the goal is just get that shit out of you. Get it out.
So the Castro Country Club is a safe and sober community center for all and a refuge for the LGBTQ recovery community.
We provide programs and services that help change lives by supporting personal growth.
Yes, and our vision is to reduce the suffering of addiction by connecting people to community, opportunity, and support.
You can find more information, including all the ways to contact us, at www.castrocountryclub.org/podcast.
And please check out new episodes every Monday as they are released.
Every Monday.
Thank you, Sage.
We love you.
God, thank you.